I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Doherty, you call the roll, please.
Gillum,
Here.
Bunch,
Here.
Green,
Here.
Phillips is absent, Templin.
Here. Okay, we have approval of September 19th, City Council meeting minutes. Is there any question or discussion on the September minutes? No discussion. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 19th as written?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Gillum,
Aye.
Bunch,
Aye.
Green,
Yes.
Templin.
Aye. Recognize citizens, guests, and visitors. Ms. Kelly Harris of the Rocky Top Public Library.
Hello, right here.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for giving me some time this evening to let you guys know what I am up to across the street. I thought you might be interested. I was very inspired by the beautification efforts that you guys have been doing in the city since I got here, because it has been remarkable. And so I really wanted to contribute to that effort and be a part of the community and do the best I can. So that is why we started doing this. I need to hop over here real quick. I'm sorry, everybody. I hope you can see if you're interested. We have partnered, the Rocky Top Public Library has partnered with the UT Ag Extension Master Gardeners Program to create a series of gardens around the library. It's going to start right here. And if you look at the overview here, you'll see what we're going to do in the back. This will be a fenced, do you see the green? That is a green, sorry, that is a fenced vegetable garden. This is our partnership and our statement of purpose. The goal is to create gardens that can be used as an outdoor classroom to educate patrons and community members of all ages about plant cultivation, garden maintenance, entomology, insects, ecology, and conservation. That is our statement of purpose, and that is my goal. However, there is another element to that I think everybody should understand, is that where my heart is here. I'm not from Rocky Top, but I'm from somewhere very, very similar to Rocky Top. If anybody knows Madison County, North Carolina, that's where I'm from. It is very similar to where we are right now. The kids here are growing up in a food desert when we are surrounded by plenty, and we are surrounded, their great-grandparents, their grandparents, knew food, knew how to cultivate and grow food, and knew how to feed themselves and feed their families from the earth. And we've lost that. I think we've lost that in a lot of communities, and I think we've lost it here too. And the opportunity to put kids and adults, give them a chance to put their hands in the dirt, feel it, understand the entire process, from pollinator to harvest. And that's what we're gonna do here. And it will also be beautiful. These are the specifics. For the city, for you guys, I included in your packet all of these specifics so that if you're interested or if you have any questions, I don't know how much in depth you want to go in on this. Since it is local government, I would like to say first and foremost, I'm asking for no money. No money, nothing additional. We just wanted to share our excitement in what we're doing and see if you have any questions. It's going a little further down here. I've already purchased the raised beds and the trellis. We have priced out every single penny so that you understand what we're doing here. Here's our final. I'm going to give you the timeline. We have already begun. Hang on. There we go. Here are the phases. It's planned in 2 phases initially. We have a 3rd phase that may not be necessary. The first phase we've already begun. We've begun purchasing. I'm primarily going to do most of the purchasing, but we will probably be reaching out to the community to see if the community is interested in donating labor, gardening supplies, anything that's on that list. We've included lists also. If you have any questions, I have my master gardeners here because I am not the master gardener. I am the project manager. Michaela is my assistant project manager. We are in charge of the project. They are advising and teaching us how to do this so that we can teach everyone else. If you have any questions for me or for my gardeners, I'm happy to take them. Or if you have no questions at this time, you are welcome to come see me at any time in the library. You have our full plans. If you have more questions, I'm happy to answer.
Anyone have any questions?
I think it's great. Anytime you can educate someone, you know, I'm all for it. I think it's great. I like your idea.
Exactly.
I applaud you for coming up and reaching out.
Thank you so much.
So,
We're very excited. I'm so excited to share it with the community, to share it with the library patrons, with everybody. So please come visit. I also want to invite you, you also have in your packet an invitation to our Halloween party. We're doing a Monster Bash from 4 to 6 for the kids. Drop in, trick-or-treating all day. We're doing take and make craft kits early enough so that it's not dark and not scary. We'll be at the Rocky Top Trunk or Treat. We'll have a table set up there, and we are also setting up at the library to welcome people to use the restroom, to take a break, cocoa or popsicles, depending on the weather. That's what the library is up to.
Depending on the weather, they'll get the rest of those stumps dug up tomorrow. They're gonna have to bring a bigger machine up there to do it. The machine they started with was too small.
I appreciate you so much. It's been
A couple of those trash trees on the back, we're
Yes.
gonna get those out of there too.
very excited. The city has been wonderful, absolutely wonderful, ever since I stepped foot in the city, so I appreciate you all so much.
I've been waiting for the weather to break. The tree that's closest to the heat and air unit.
Yeah.
That's over it, it's coming down.
It's coming. I talked to Dustin. Dustin was very excited. He's like, this one's going, this one's going.
And there's one beside a telephone pole there that may have some issues with limbs in the lines.
Yeah, that's what
We get
Dustin
the
said.
bucket truck and cut some of that out before we take the tree down.
Very
And that'll open up more light for this.
Absolutely it will.
And
It
what
should-
I'd like to see them replaced like with some fruit trees.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm also on the Rocky Top Tree Committee.
Okay.
So, I can talk trees. Maybe we could work that out, because I think that would be beautiful.
Maybe some fruit trees for,
I would love fruit trees. You're speaking my language, gentlemen. You're speaking my language. Love it. I would love
I
it.
do have a question.
Sure.
So you said you were partnering with the UT Extension Office.
Yes.
Like, to what extent are you partnering? Is it gonna be an ongoing partnership?
Yep, so I'm the Anderson County Extension Agent here. So we have a Master Gardener Program, which is a team of volunteers, like we have here, Ms. Yvonne and Ms. Deb here, that are really passionate for their local community there. So we have a lot of those in Oak Ridge, Clinton, Norris, and now Rocky Top. So it is an ongoing project, and we see our projects to the end, and hopefully they sustain each other for years to come. And so that's why I'm glad we broke it down in phase 1 and phase 2. And you're talking fruit trees, that's kind of my specialty as well, so we can definitely work on that too. So, yep. So, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Because I want to back things that are sustainable.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yep.
And I think the important part of that is it is sustainable because
Yeah.
I am in charge of the project. The library is in charge of the project. They are wonderful consultants and they are teaching me things every day of my life. But I'm in charge of the project.
I think
And I'm not
you're-
going anywhere.
I think if you've ever had a kid in 4-H, you've worked with them, so.
Oh, yes, sir, I have, yes.
Yeah. The UT Extension Office is great to
Thank
work
you.
with.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your packets. Come visit me if you have any more questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next order of business, mayor's report.
Anybody else want to speak?
This is going out, Mr. Ellis? How is this going out?
We haven't decided yet. We talked about it today. We might just hand deliver them.
Okay. As a result of some rule changes in Washington, EPA, anybody know about the issue they had several years ago, and it's still an ongoing issue in Flint, Michigan, in regards to lead water service lines? Okay. Eddie doesn't have the history. Mikey's not here, is he?
No,
We used to have a lot of lead lines from the main to the meter base. And those were all, Gene, you were probably still here at the city. When was that initiative? Back 2000?
Yeah, it might be a little bit before 2000.
Okay. Well, there was a lot of grant money out there to get all those out of the ground, and I've been assured that we have none of them left. There's still a possibility that individual homeowners have lead service lines from the meter to their house. Chances are not, simply because lead was considered a wealthy person's water line back in the day. We're a poor town. It's galvanized pipe. You know, if you had any money, you put copper in. Talking to a gentleman from TAUD Tuesday, he said Memphis, the old part of Memphis with the mansions and crap, that they've got tons and tons of lead lines still in the ground, lead piping in the houses. But going back to where we're at today, the EPA is requiring us to do an inventory of all our services in town, of which we have 800 and some odd, close to 900 services. Some of them are going to be relatively easily determined. You flip the lid on the meter and you look down, and on the customer side of the meter, you can see that little leg of pipe. And we'll document that. We're creating a database with the assistance of TAUD, and what's the name of our program that we use, the water?
Yeah, that AWWA.
Yeah. But we're creating a spreadsheet. This has to be completed by December of '24.
October.
October of '24. Okay, so we've got a little bit of time. This information will be sent out to every utility customer in town. And what we are requesting is that if the customer knows what their service is, they inform us of that. The information we've gotten from TAUD, that most of the utility districts have been relatively successful in getting this information back from the homeowners, where we don't have to send someone out to physically either dig, because some of these meters, the way the meter box is, you can't tell. The box is right against the edge of the meter riser, and we're gonna have to dig down to the service line to find out what the construction of that pipe is. But as I said, this information is gonna be going out. You live here in town, you're either gonna get this hand delivered or you're gonna get it with your water bill. Please return that information to us, and if you have a question, our folks will come out and make that determination for you. We're better off than a lot of the communities. Our state isn't being as rigorous. Some of the other states are requiring that 3 locations be uncovered to physically determine the construction of that supply line. They have to dig at the meter, they have to dig halfway between the meter and the house, and they have to dig where the line goes in the house. I think pretty much what the TAUD gentleman said, that was, they're doing that in a lot of the states up north. The probably reason they're not doing that down here is because somebody will shoot them. You're digging in your front yard to find out what the water line is, so. It's a southern thing. We don't have to dig 3 holes in the yard down here. But please, when this information is requested and provided, it's for your own good. And we need to know what the line is, even if it's, and there'll be information here that tells you how to determine if it's a lead line. But if it's not lead, if it's a galvanized pipe, I think right now it was taken off the table. I keep up with a little bit of this. Galvanized pipe's going to be an issue in a few years, and they're gonna be wanting us to pull the galvanized pipe out of the ground. What's left out there. So that would be really good information for us to know now. Things change 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road. We don't have to reinvent the wheel and do an entirely different survey. We've already got good information up front. We don't want unknowns on here, because if there's a certain percentage of unknowns, they're gonna make us start digging. And we don't want to, no one wants to do that. Homeowners don't want us to do that, and we don't want to do that. That's expensive labor. Okay. Next piece of information, we've got a letter from the state of Tennessee Comptroller's Office in regards to our previous 2 years' water loss. So we're on a reporting. We have to provide information to the Comptroller's Office by December 31st of this year on our plan to reduce water loss below 40%. The last 6-8 months, we've been in the 30 to 40% range. The previous 2 years is what has gotten us on this, because this letter was from June of this year. Loss is looking better. Mr. Phillips?
Yes, sir.
Now, how many leaks have y'all fixed this week?
2 today.
Yeah. There's one down on Church Street today.
That was good.
I had several leaks on the homeowner's side of the house, on the side of the meter too, which is just a piece of advice. I want to say, you shouldn't go out there and flip the lid every day and look. And it would be great if we had the ability to real-time monitor, like some communities and utilities do. They can real-time monitor your water meter electronically. And if it spikes, they can pick up the phone and call. There's something wrong with your house, you have a leak. We're not to that point here. But routinely, you should look at your water meter. There's a little red star in there. Because it'll be filthy, you can't see it. Wipe the glass off, look, that little red star, if you know nothing's on, that little red star should not be moving. It could be a little blue thing too. But if anything's moving, you have a water leak. If you don't know how to fix that, call us. We'll shut your meter off, so at least then the leak is stopped. But and maybe if we can arrange you to get in touch with a plumber or whatnot to fix your leak. We had a lady with a real bad leak over the last a month and a half, and she's got a horrible bill hanging over her head. There's nothing we can do about it because we had to buy the water. We don't make our own water. So, keep an eye on that. But we're coming up on winter time. That's when a lot of leaks occur, especially if we have a cold winter. You have pipes freeze and burst. It behooves everyone to stay on top of your water usage and look at your bill and look at the numbers on there. Most people are pretty consistent of how much water they use every month. If that number starts creeping up, good place to check is the flappers in your toilet. But check or call someone, and we can give you advice. We've got good people working for our water and sewer department. they can come out and give you advice if you're having a problem, what you need to look at. Okay. New business. Second reading of ordinance 577, an ordinance of the city of Rocky Top, Tennessee, amending the fiscal year 23-24 budget, passed by ordinance 574. Okay. And the change here is, Mr. Ellis?
That is for the fire department. It's a grant well, it's not a grant, it's the ARPA money that Tony
That
got
was
from the county.
appropriated From
yeah.
the county, okay, in the amount of $50,000.
And he's buying
This is being
radios.
used to purchase radios?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. Any discussion on ordinance 577? There be no discussion. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 577 as written?
I make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second? Mr. Green has seconded. Ms. Doherty, to call the roll, please.
Gillum,
Aye.
Bunch. Green. Templin.
All right. Now we have second reading of ordinance 578, an ordinance of the city of Rocky Top, Tennessee, amending the Rocky Top Municipal Code, Title 15, Chapter 8, entitled Roadblocks, Parades, Foot or Bicycle Races, Assemblies, or Other Events. And this ordinance, short story on this, it creates a formalized process for dealing with roadblocks and parades here in town. When I say roadblocks, I'm talking where they set up at the traffic light and solicit for donations for the fire department or the Shriners or whatever. But this is modeled on, whose community did this come from, CMTS?
Yes,
You remember the community?
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville. Okay, this is modeled on there. There was a lot of different communities out there have pretty much the same boilerplate system. This requires, if you're gonna have a roadblock, that you come to City Hall, that you fill out an application and to have the roadblock and determine the dates, and if there's rain dates, those would be determined there. And that these are conducted in such a manner to ensure the safety of the folks having the roadblock and ensure the safety of the people on the highway. Do I have any discussion?
One thing that we need to make sure is that they know they've got to be a 501c3.
Right. Yes, that's the big change here. You got to be a 501c, a nonprofit registered organization to do this.
Is it just the C3 status or C4? Because aren't some fire departments C4? 501c4?
That's it.
The service.
Any
community service.
501.
Yeah,
Any
501c.
nonprofit listed, but we're not getting down into the weeds as the,
I guess, I'm just asking for clarification, wondering if,
I thought it was all 501c3. And in MTS, that's what they,
yeah, I didn't know if it mattered, because it does specifically say 501c3. If it would just be better to say if there's a 501c, if we had to list all of those or take off the 3.
we can take the 3 off.
Well, I'm just.
No, yeah, we can take the 3 and
What-
stay
what
just
does-
501c, that's fine. And that includes all of them, it's 501c.
So,
and we'd be better doing that, just dropping any numerical subcategory under 501.
and is there, I guess the other question is there any other nonprofits that, is all nonprofits a 501c
Yes.
status? Is there any other organizations that don't pay, that are nonprofit or that
Not
don't
to-
pay
not to
taxes?
my
Let me
knowledge.
rephrase that are tax exempt,
Not
that
to
are
my
under a different
knowledge,
filing status?
not to my knowledge.
No. I mean, churches are 501, right?
Yes,
Yeah, churches are
Yeah,
501.
so, I'm all for the.
I could see dropping the,
yeah, we can drop
Just in case.
501c.
I don't know what,
Government might change it,
yeah.
Yeah.
so, yeah, we can drop it to 3.
So, go ahead, Jeff.
The letter, the last one we approved by the letter, I'd like to be able to ask questions of the persons instead of just getting a letter.
Well, now, with this, we're not gonna get a letter, they're having to fill out an application.
Yes, they have to, and then they have to also show up.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah,
to be
They have to be here,
They have to physically
Okay,
show
okay.
up.
Yes.
And
Okay.
complete an application.
From what I understand, this is saying they have to fill out the application, and we're gonna have to come up with an application so we can put whatever questions we want on the
Yes.
application.
Yeah.
It's hard to ask questions of a letter with
Yeah.
nobody.
Well, we'll word this application in such a manner that we'll get the answers we
Okay,
want.
okay.
And the nice thing about, I know it puts some people out, but requiring them to be a 501c, then accounting requirements, they're regulated by their own. They have to have a budget, they have reporting requirements that they have to. So it's not a question, what happened to that $700 that they made up here at the ball field the other day or whatever.
Well, the last roadblock last weekend, there was a gentleman stood up here for hours with no vest, no nothing on, and there was a gentleman leaned up on the bridge, had a big bright orange vest on, but he never once got out in the street.
Well, and
So-
that's some of the stuff that's called
Exactly,
out
yeah, yeah.
in the
it's
ordinance.
mentioned.
Mm-hmm. That everyone, I don't think, we're not allowing minors, is that?
That's right.
Yeah, no minors out in the highway. Yep, no children younger than no one younger than 18 years of age shall be permitted to participate. Because
Okay,
that's
but it-
bad end.
if they're violating anything while the roadblock is going on, is there, I didn't read it or I looked over it, is there something that allows us to stop the roadblock?
I think that they can't do it anymore.
I guess like the hypothetical
Yeah.
situation.
I know what you're saying.
It would be,
We can put that in the
yeah,
application.
we need verbiage that says, in the event any, part of this ordinance being violated, that we reserve the right to, cease and
Terminate,
desist.
yeah.
Yeah, terminate the roadblock at that time.
And that would be up to the, I would guess, the police
The
department.
police department, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, with the, change to 15, TAC 801, Section 1, to remove the 3 from local 501c3. That's what we're talking about, striking the 3.
Yeah, just any.
Okay, strike the 3. Other than that, everything else is going to be covered in the actual application form, correct?
Except they can always come back and remove it.
Are we good with that? Okay, with those corrections, do I have a motion to approve ordinance number 578?
I'll make the motion, sir.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I've had a motion and a second. Ms. Doherty, will you call roll, please?
Gillum,
Aye.
Bunch,
Aye.
Green,
Yeah.
Templin.
All right. Okay, now this is the first reading of ordinance number 579, an ordinance authorizing the award of items to certain retiring police officers and firefighters after 25 years of service to Rocky Top, Tennessee. Whereas the city of Rocky Top, Tennessee has adopted an ordinance to authorize the awarding of certain items whenever a law enforcement officer or firefighter so employed by the city of Rocky Top retires in good standing, and whereas the city of Rocky Top City Council honors and sincerely appreciates the dedication, service of all police officers and firefighters employed by Rocky Top. Whereas the chief of police shall be authorized but not required to award any sworn officer separating from the employment with the city in good standing having a minimum of 25 years of service with the city police department, that officer's service weapon and/or badge or equivalent item or any other item as memento of the officer's service. The decision to award any such item shall be the sole discretion of the chief of police. An officer receiving any such item shall acknowledge receipt and ownership of the items in writing and shall release the city from any liability from use or ownership of the items. The chief of police shall report the award of such items to the city recorder for removal of all items subject to this ordinance from the official inventory of assets and shall retain a record of any such items awarded in the retiring officer's files. Whereas the chief of the fire department shall be authorized but not required to award any firefighter separating from employment with the city in good standing, having a minimum of 25 years of service with the city fire department, that firefighter's badge, turnout gear, or equivalent item, or any other item as memento of the officer's service. The decision to award any such item shall be in the sole discretion of the chief of the fire department. All firefighters receiving any such item shall acknowledge receipt and ownership of the items in writing and shall release the city from any liability from use or ownership of the items. The chief of the fire department shall report the award of such items to the city recorder for removal of all items subject to this ordinance from the official inventory of assets and shall retain a record of any such items awarded in the retiring firefighter's file. Whereas any award made prior to November 16, 2023 of a single service weapon and or badge to a sworn officer or firefighter retiring after 25 years of service with the city's police department or the city's fire department shall be deemed as a lawful transfer of that item to the retiring employee, which shall vest ownership of that item with a retiring employee. The chief of police and the chief of the fire department shall forward a record of such items previously awarded to the city recorder for removal of all items from the official inventory of assets and shall be retained a record of any such item previously awarded. Anyone have any questions about ordinance number 579?
This is standard practice among the police departments and fire departments around the area. It's standard.
Yeah, well, I think that's where the verbiage came from.
I think it's a good gesture.
It is.
I
It's
do.
very good, George.
I do have a question. Could there be a possibility, and how would we prevent it if a service weapon was bought with grant money? Could there be a possibility that we have to, as a city, could that be a conflict? How do we?
That's totally over my head, brother. I don't.
Like,
Yeah.
I guess, would you know the answer? Like, if there was ever a situation, is there ever stipulations on when grant money is spent, say, for example, like a service weapon?
Yes, sir.
Does that mean that it has to remain in the city's possession, or how does that work?
There may be a specification for a period of time that the department has to use it, and then after that, it can be distributed elsewhere. It would depend on the grant. I'm not sure of exact timeframes, but I believe 3 years is a fairly standard one, and that will be something we would review. From the way the proposed ordinance is written, with the discretion being at the chief of police office, that will be something that I would want to make sure we're properly handling any equipment bought on grant money.
Okay. I think it's good.
Yeah, I think the big problem we could get into here, which I don't think is an issue for us, is like if we have gotten weapons from the feds, you know, how they get.
The weapons the Anderson County
That's-
Sheriff's Department's got, they can't,
That's a different story, totally different.
they can't dispose of them.
No,
They have to
no,
go
they
back
have
to
to
the
go
federal
back.
government.
Yeah, but, and I don't think we have anything like that here. It wouldn't, if we did, it wouldn't be service weapons, it would be rifles, it'd be long guns.
2 years ago, they showed up and done an inventory of our night vision goggles, all the rifles, everything that they'd got, they expected to see.
I don't think that's gonna be an issue with this. Be there no further discussion, do I have a motion to,
I make the motion, sir.
do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Doherty, you call the roll, please.
Gillum,
Aye.
Bunch,
Aye.
Green,
Yes.
Templin.
Aye. Okay, next order of business, discuss property maintenance form. And this form, we have charged people, I don't know how far this goes back, how many years it goes back. But if we have to go mow a yard where people aren't keeping their property up, we have charged them to do that. But there's nothing in writing for what we charge, which I think is a horrible position to be in, because then it turns into an opinion thing of who we charge what. This is making it official. This is what we charge, to do bush hog work, to cut yards, trash and debris removal, securing buildings. We do a whole lot more than than we should, but this is a somewhat normal occurrence that we have to send the public works guys out here to a house, they're cooking meth in or whatever that's abandoned, and board the place up. Or go back after they've tore one of the pieces of plywood down, and they're back in there and reboard it up. And how this works, if this isn't no property's truly abandoned, somebody owns it somewhere, unless it's reverted back to the county's ownership. But we'll file a lien against the property to get these funds back when that property's sold. Or if it's an active person, they can pay us directly for doing this. But I thought that this is formal enough, we should vote on
It's
it.
mostly for code enforcement.
Yes.
Okay, because I need some bush hogging done, I mean, $100 an hour. Seems pretty cheap.
Oh, yeah, that's better than what you
I'm
can
just
get
saying,
Kenny
like-
Madisonville to do it for. Yeah, we don't want to get into that
I mean, if I could
business.
pay somebody $100 to do it, I would do it.
Yeah. But there'll be no further discussion on this. Do I have a motion to accept the property maintenance form, standard prices effective 9/1 of 20? Approved.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Green seconded. Call the roll, please.
Gillum,
Aye.
Bunch,
Aye.
Green, Templin.
Aye. Police vehicles.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The condition of our fleet right now, we have two vehicles that are in very poor condition. One of them has 166,000 miles. I checked with the city recorder on the fuel consumption on it. It's getting like 4 or 5 miles per gallon. It's just not safe. The other vehicle that we have, the second oldest one in our fleet, it's pushing about 112, 115,000 miles. It also is in fairly rough condition. We would like to replace them. I had Lieutenant McGee do some price projections, check around. He had gotten prices on 4 used vehicles. I think that is probably more fiscally responsible for our department and for our city to look at those.
These are lower mileage used vehicles.
Yes, sir, they are. They vehicles that we looked at, we didn't want to look at anything that had more than 50 or 55,000 miles, so we could get some good useful life, maybe work into a replacement cycle with our vehicles, so we're not getting caught at a point where we're needing to replace 3, 4 vehicles all at one time.
Right.
So with the projections that Lieutenant McGee worked on for me, we came up with a 2018 Charger that is currently at a dealership in Kentucky that sells police vehicles. It's been inspected. It's in very good condition, 43,800 miles. It's all-wheel drive. It would at least get us 5 or 6 years of service life with nothing unexpected happening. The price that they have on that they quoted us was $18,000. In order to get it on the road and working for Rocky Top Police Department, about $19,500, because it already has most of the equipment that is needed. The second quote that he got was a Charger. The next 3 are in Missouri, from Missouri Fleet Services. They sell off the surplus vehicles from there. This vehicle is a 2020 Charger, so a little bit newer, but it has almost 55,000 miles on it. It would need a little bit more equipment because it does not have a prisoner partition in the back, which would be necessary. Its sale price is $23,900, and then to get it on the road, we're looking at around $28,000. However,
Would we be able to pull the old cage?
we do have opportunity to get the cage out of one Dodge Charger that we have, and also Anderson County Sheriff's Office has made arrangements to donate one to us, so that would limit our cost to get it on the road. We priced two other ones. They were a little bit further than the first two. A 2021 Charger with 50,000 miles on it for almost 28,000 and 32,300 to get it on the road. And then a Ford Interceptor Utility, which is one of the Explorer police vehicles, 2020 model. It has more miles at 62,000, and it would cost us about 37,150 to get it on the road.
How are we on being able to swing this?
Well, I did put $50,000 of ARPA money in the budget. So that's what it would probably have to come out of to purchase them.
This is something we're gonna have to do.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, we need to look at probably a cycle every year, every 2
Yes.
years of buying a police vehicle.
It'd be great if we could swing another grant, but the problem with these grants, you get 2 or 3 at the same time, which is sweet, but they all start going in the toilet at the same time too, 5 or 6 years down the road. And maybe the grants aren't there then, but, you know, keep shooting for another USDA grant or something. But yes, we
Yes,
should
sir.
be looking, you know, I don't know what type of cycle it should be, but at least every other year, we should probably be buying a police cruiser.
And we had calculated with the mileage of the vehicles that we've got. The 3 newest ones, 2 of them are at 14,000, another one's at 19,000, my vehicle. And if we were to go on a cycle like that, Mr. Mayor, it would keep our fleet updated so we're able to get out and do the work that we need to do.
Yes, ma'am.
How many police cars do we have now?
8.
So this would be replacing 2 of those.
We would replace one of them and hang on to the second
As a
oldest
backup.
one as a backup, just to make sure that we're not
But it
caught where
would
we're
be a
not able.
frontline vehicle, it wouldn't be.
Correct, it would be a
No.
spare. Yes, sir.
And we would sell that one.
Yes, after removing equipment that we
Yes.
could repurpose and get some use out of, we could sell it.
Have you talked to Assistant Chief Sharp in the last day or two?
Not in the last day or two, sir.
He had a question yesterday, and I told him you was gonna present before us tonight, and he said he'd wait
Ah, okay.
about the Missouri.
Okay. Yeah, I'll reach out to
So
him.
Anderson County's been buying from Missouri for years.
For many years,
Yeah.
yes. They've had a good experience with them. I do know that they've had some times whenever they've had some minor issues with vehicles, or sometimes a little bit more than minor, and the vendor has been very good at making it right.
Making it up. Well,
Yes,
we
sir.
used to buy from the highway patrol here
Yeah.
years ago. We would buy they access those cruisers at like 75,000 miles, and we would buy them, have them repainted. Did the same thing with our public works vehicles. We bought a lot of trucks from TDOT, because wasn't high mileage on them when they accessed them.
And we can still get a lot of use out of them after they've
Oh,
passed
yeah,
their service
yeah.
life with Missouri or
You're
wherever.
looking, if you get a 60,000 mile vehicle, you should be able to get another 100
Yes, sir.
before. And if you're averaging $18,000 or 18,000 miles a year, you're gonna get several years use out.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we need to vote on this? Okay. Do I have a hard number here?
What was your figure?
For the.
So we've got basically four quotes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. For the two best price ones, one is 18,000 purchase price with a projection of just under 20,000 to get it on the road. The second one was a 23,900 purchase price with $650 to ship it to avoid us making the 22-hour trip to Missouri. And then total price on that one, 28,300 projected to get it on the road,
Whoa.
marked and ready to go.
Not to go over the 50,000.
So 48,000 and some change.
Roughly
Your
that, yes, sir.
figures is- Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have to buy 2 vehicles right now? Can't do one and then wait?
If we did one of,
Or to the next budget year to do another?
if we did one of them now, that would be the bare minimum I would recommend, sir. If we do both of them now, I think we may be avoiding the problems we may run into with winter. The second vehicle, the one that we want to keep for a spare, it's had some electrical problems. I had been driving it right now while mine is here, and I've had to jump it off every day that I went to drive it. I'm afraid that we may end up not getting the use out of it and maybe having a difficulty of getting our officers in cars out patrolling if we don't.
Right.
We
I'm just
could
trying
make
to
it, but
think-
it would be very
I'm just
tight.
trying to think of questions that
Yes, sir.
citizens may ask.
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, I'm
Very responsible.
for- I mean, I wish we could buy a whole new fleet.
Yes, sir. Me
We don't
too.
have the money.
Me too. I'd love to put these guys in new ones, but
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
we have 8 police officers?
Hmm?
Do we have 8 police officers?
we're slotted for 9 positions. We are currently in the process of hiring. We've just hired 2, and we have another position that we need to fill to get up to full strength.
And we're going away from 12-hour shifts and going to, are you changing
We're
your shift
temporarily
structure?
on 9.5-hour shifts. We are going to go back to the 12-hour shifts
Okay.
very soon.
Okay. I didn't know if you were gonna try to go back to an 8, a 3 schedule or what.
We'd looked at it to try to find the best balance of having the officers here, having them have their off time without having to clock overtime to do the
Yeah.
regular work at premium pay.
Well,
And it was hard
some
with
of
8
this
hours.
savings is coming from overtime. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's good.
Yes, sir.
The overtime's been horrible.
It has.
That just, yeah, it's not a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see these officers wandering around like a zombie, where they've worked 10 or 12 days straight.
They have put in a lot of
That's-
work, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor. Yes, sir.
that's not good. That's not good for the citizens. It's definitely not good for the officers.
No.
Okay, do I have a motion to purchase the Somerset? That's the Kentucky Cruiser for 18,000 and the
Missouri.
Missouri Cruiser for 23,000. And those were the low bids out of the 4 different cruisers. Do I have a motion to purchase those vehicles using the money that has been shifted from the ARPA money?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, I've got a motion, do I have a second?
I second.
Call the roll, please.
Gillum,
Aye.
Bunch,
Aye.
Green, Templin.
Aye.
And then from this point forward, we can start figuring out when we start replacing one, every 2 years or every year.
Right,
or-
every 2 or 3,
Yeah.
it should be, we should always be looking at, next year, we gotta buy a new police cruiser.
We gotta be
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
proactive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we gotta be we gotta get away from just emergency, it's not running anymore, and it's gonna cost $10,000 to fix. We don't wanna get to that point. Okay, next order of business. Sewer adjustments, we didn't vote on them last month. The September sewer adjustments were for $422. We had 2 individuals, one $302, one $120. They were both leaks, for a total of $422. Do I have a motion to, approve the September sewer adjustments as written?
Make the motion, sir.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Ms. Doherty, will you call the roll, please?
Gillum,
Aye.
Bunch,
Aye.
Green, Templin.
Aye.
How'd we miss that? How'd we miss that?
We brought it up, but we never voted on it. That's my bad. My bad. Now, the October sewer adjustments of $269. These are 3 separate adjustments, one for 79, one for 139, and one for 51. For a total of $269. Do I have any?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This pressure washing on here, that's not a leak, so why would it be?
Well, that would be like filling a
We go through
pool.
sewer.
Yeah, it is
It'd be-
like filling a pool. but
It'd be
I
like
don't
filling a
think
pool. I mean, we adjust for filling pools.
I think what she's asking,
Yeah.
they're asking for an adjustment on the sewer portion. We didn't treat that So therefore, there's really no cost incurred of treating that sewer, so it doesn't cost the city anything to treat it, so therefore, we're able to say we're going to adjust that sewer bill.
Good question, but I look at it kind of the same as filling pools.
Yeah, I mean.
Or water in the yard, like we screwed up and had an $800 water bill here. That was before last when we put sod down stupidly in the middle of June and it quit raining for a month.
But does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
basically what it is.
So, yeah, cause like, at the beginning of summer, like he's saying, we have thousands of dollars of adjustments for filling pools.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're not treating that much sewer, they're
It's
just
not
buying
really
the
a water
water.
adjustment, it's a sewer adjustment.
sewer
Exactly right, yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
yes,
Yes,
that,
Yeah, 'cause-
we've always called it a water adjustment, and you're exactly right, we need to get away from that. This is a sewer adjustment.
Yeah, it's
This
a-
is a sewer adjustment. Okay, there be no further discussion on this. Do I have a motion to accept the October sewer adjustments as written?
Motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Mr. Green seconded. Call the roll, please.
Gillum,
Aye.
Bunch,
Aye.
Green,
Yeah.
Templin.
All right. And for the month of September, our water loss is a little over 30.5%. What was last month?
You got a sheet?
You got a sheet here? Yeah, here we go. July was 35, August was 26, and September's 30%. The magic number's 40%. For us, a magic number is really anything, because we don't make our own water, we have to buy it. You know, if you're fortunate like CUB or a utility district that generates their own water, you can kind of turn a blind eye to a lot of leaks. When we used to do the same thing here, when we had our own water supply. It wasn't really costing us anything. Since Anderson County doesn't care that this water leaked, we have to sign a check for it. So the lower the number is on loss, the better off we are. The better off the whole town is. Okay. Committee reports. Public Works. Nearly 36 tons of garbage picked up. That's down a little bit, isn't it? What we grazing
It's around 40.
We were scratching 40 ton. I thought that was kind of just an anomaly there. Brush pickup, they picked up a little over 19.5 tons. They've installed no overnight parking signs on Colonial Drive. We had issues with a guy using that as a storage lot for, I don't know what you want to call it, but he was staging vehicles out for a junkyard or something. Installed a new drain tile over at the intersection of Industrial Park and Gold Avenue, and I want to call out all the street department and water department personnel. That was a big, nasty job. Had 96 feet of 24-inch culvert that ran diagonally across that intersection. It was about, at the start, about 7 feet deep, and then of course it tapered down. It got shallow as it went into the park. But the old line was rusted out. It was an old galvanized corrugated tile. It had rusted out. Part of the street was falling in, where water was undermining it. It was in the middle of a bunch of water lines and sewer lines. I mean, it was a mess, and they did an awesome job getting that knocked out without bursting the first water line.
Since we're talking about public work, there's a school bus sign at the ball field parking lot, the library parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
You just about have to be out in the middle
I
of the
agree.
street to see
It needs to
around that
be
thing.
moved on the north.
Is that the cities, is that the schools,
I think
is
that's
that the
ours.
states?
That's ours.
That's ours. We need
That would
to,
be
we
ours.
really do. We need to pull that thing and put it on the north side, on the library side of where you pull out. Because
You can't see around.
Brian, yeah, when you pull up there, it's right there, and you can't, it's dangerous.
Okay.
It's dangerous. Yeah, that,
I didn't know if, okay.
they repaired the skid steer bucket and cylinders, had several cylinders, repacked. Repaired the tire on the backhoe. Water department, repaired 4 3/4 service lines, 2 1-inch, 6 total water leaks, reg meters, hung tags, mowed both water reservoirs. Worked with the street department on the Gold Avenue job. Lead and copper results came back, no lead detected from 10 sample sites, and they do that all over town. I had a meeting with TAUD over the lead service line inventory, that was this previous Tuesday, and uncovered 2 manholes on Husley Lane. That's up in Campbell County, isn't it? Made a 4-inch tap over on Cooper, unstopped manhole and sewer. They had an issue up here across from Douglas Auto Sales. Monday. We finished it up. Friday you had to jet it, and then went back Monday and finished up, put a new manhole, a new riser on that manhole. And worked with Chief Braden, explaining the fog ordinance, the grease trap process with all the generators of grease in town. And the sewer plant treated 9,660,000 gallons of wastewater for the month of September. Fire department responded to 18 EMS calls, 1 unauthorized burning, broken gas line, 2 of those, hazard fuel incidents, 3 lift assists, 1 mutual aid call, 4 overdoses, for a total of 35 calls this month. Total calls for the year have been 463. Police department, 32 arrests, 81 traffic stops, 43 citations, 51 incident reports, and 387 calls for service. Anderson County Sheriff's Office is covering until we get our staffing up, covering from 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock, 2 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. We have Sheriff's Department coverage for the Anderson County part of Rocky Top, and also the Campbell County portion. Chief Thomas worked with the sheriffs of both counties to arrange this, and I want to call out the Sheriff's Department of both Anderson and Campbell County for supporting us.
It's nice to see their presence.
Excuse me?
It's nice to see their presence.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, I've been, they've been, a few people tell me that they've seen more police cars, Rocky Top police cars here in the last, month and a half, 2 months than they usually see in a year, drive by their house.
That's a good thing.
I think Chief Thomas is.
We have violent crime intervention funding grant. This is order digital portable radios. And it's going to purchase sidearms and rifles. Tennessee Highway Safety Office visibility enforcement grant. Officer Phillips is going to be heading that up.
Yes, sir.
I think he's wanting to speak.
Oh,
Mr. Mayor.
please.
No, sir, I just want to be available in case you had any questions.
And the Justice Department Bulletproof Vest grant, Lieutenant McGee is going to be the point of contact for that. Purchases are being scheduled. Applied for a Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, recruiting retention grant and cost sharing grant. So that's $15,000 for Rocky Top PD and $8,000. So if we hire someone new, we get $8,000. Is that right?
No, sir, they will reimburse us for the cost of sending someone to the academy
Oh,
or
okay.
someone that has been out for more than 3 years or from out of state that has to go to the transition 3-week school. They'll reimburse us up to that 15,000
Okay.
cap, and then pay a
Okay.
retention bonus to that person if they remain at Rocky Top PD for 3 years.
And you've applied for 50/50 TDEC, property conservation grant up to $4,000, to, create a storage, outdoor vehicle storage area like for impounded.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Created 9 credible policies for all officers, code of ethics, admin organization function department, general rules, uniform appearance, arrest procedures, vehicle operations, including take-home vehicles, vehicle pursuit restrictions, body worn camera use, and standard operation procedures. And working with the district attorney in regards to how we handle our evidence. This is a long-term project here. And correcting an issue with Post in Nashville in regards to our instructor
Yes, sir.
for the police department.
Yes, sir.
It was assigned to a part-time officer, but the state requirements is that it be a full-time officer, and they will have someone in that position within 30 days. And the issue that may arise from this, some of the folks who completed training under the previous part-time officer may be required to repeat.
Yes, sir.
Sir, do you have anyone in mind for the training officer?
The requirements from the state for post, Mr. Gilliam, are the person to have instructor development, to have 5 years as a law enforcement officer, and then there are also some other requirements in there. Lieutenant McGee may qualify for that. I've also spoken to Officer Mitch Wade, who's been here a long time, put in his time at Rocky Top Police Department, and he's not decided if that's a role for him that he wants to fill, so we're waiting to see where we go with that. But one of those two gentlemen are who I intend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They've started, is this yours? Let me cover this.
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't know how it got in your packet. Okay, we started inspections on the fats, oils, and grease to businesses. So far, we've had 9 that's ready, or 8 that is ready for inspection. 5, we're waiting for the permit, and 3, we've had no response from yet.
Okay.
Then Tuesday, I met with Evan, who is with the Community Development Partners. We're going over how the grant money will be allocated for the sewer project. When we have approval, we need, I think last time I told y'all that maybe 1st of November, December, we're looking to start. Well, Evan told me something that I didn't know and that Jacob didn't know, is once we get ready to bid and bid it, then it has to go back through the 4 companies or grant people.
Organizations, yeah.
Yes, that.
ARC, CDBG, TDEC, and.
Yeah, and so, don't know how long that will take. And then once we bid it and get the low bid, it has to go back through them again. Then we have the pre-construction. So we're looking maybe to bid it mid-November, 1st of December, have the bid letting, but probably will not start until the 1st of spring. We also discussed, he asked me if there was anything else that we needed to look at. I had told him about the bleachers at the ball field. He is going to look at that, submit an application, and that will be around 2024. Hopefully that application will come around. Jacob called me today, said that the plans and specs for the wastewater collection system, which is different, should be ready for review next council meeting. Then remember that fall cleanup is this month, 1st and 3rd Wednesday for the south end, 2nd and 4th Wednesday for the north end. And then don't forget, trunk or treat will be October 27th.
I have a question. The 3 businesses that's not responded on their grease trap,
Yes.
If they do not respond, what's the next step?
They're gonna respond.
Okay, okay.
Well, the thing about that end of the business, we can cut the water off.
Yeah.
That's an option. With no water, they're not gonna put any grease down the pipe. So, yeah, I think they're gonna, this is a learning curve for us as well as for the folks out there that are generating this grease.
I've never thought about it, but over the years, I've took, just in the kitchen sink, take the trap apart.
Oh, yeah.
And where you've washed dishes,
Thank
where
you,
you've washed dishes.
thank you.
I mean, just a small passage for water, and I'd never thought about it about these restaurants.
Oh, well, it's if not the restaurants, because we can't do anything with homeowners, but everybody contributes to it. Everybody. When you got that skillet you fried the bacon in, man, wipe it at first. No, do like she does, and she saves every dadgone drop of bacon grease. So you can barely get a paper towel wet when you're wiping one of her skillets out. But when you have oil or grease, wipe it out good before you stick it in the sink. Even if you got a garbage disposal, I've watched these guys down in a manhole, literally a 6-inch sewer line, chopping logs of fat, 3 feet long, and putting them on their shoulder and climbing the ladder up to the top surface of the ground and flipping it out on the ground for them to throw in the back of the garbage truck and go back down in and get it again and again and again. You should have seen when Kentucky Fried Chicken opened the first year. Oh, it was literally, there were logs as long as this room. I mean, you'd have to chop them into the, big enough to get on your shoulder, no longer than that, and carry them and throw them out of pickup truck bed full of grease, because they were dumping it. They were bypassing the grease trap and they were dumping it straight down the drain. It was horrible. I know Gene remembers that. But it causes us a lot of problems. That's why it costs a lot more to treat sewer than it does water. The grease causes problems in the lines that we have to send our men out to jet and climb down in there, and sometimes they have to use a lot of really nasty caustic chemicals to clean this stuff out, lines, such things. When it gets to the plant, it causes problems down there. It screws with the bugs. Our bugs have got to work right for that process to work, and the grease can affect that. So please, wipe your skillets out. Don't pour grease down the drain. Keep a tomato can or something to pour that grease into, then shove some paper towels into it and throw it in the garbage. Please don't pour it down the drain. Okay. Any other public comment?
On the committee reports, recreation met today, October 27th. What are the hours of the trunk or treat? Is it 5 to 8?
5 days.
5
to 8.
Yeah, it's 5 days.
5 to 8.
One of the things that we failed to put in on the flyers is that we are doing a costume contest. So for the kids, no adults, sorry. If you want to wear costumes, it's you, but there will be that contest for the costumes. And one of the other things, we are partnering with, well, we just discussed it, but it's going to happen. But we're going to partner with the Anderson County Chamber of Commerce on December 1st for the parade. So if you are entering the parade, what we are asking is that all of the people that's going to be in the parade bring a toy. So it's going to be a toy drive. And then we're going to take those toys and partner with one of the local organizations that do the toy drives and let them distribute the toys. So if you put a car in the parade, bring a toy. If you put a 4-wheeler in the parade, bring a toy. If you're walking, bring a toy. And so, but that's all that I think that's really that we discussed.
I think that's a good idea. Really, that'd work out really well.
Yeah. Tried to talk through the walk through Bethlehem. I don't think that's going to happen this year. It's just too late in the year to try to do it, but I don't know if. But other than that, that was the two big things from Recreation Committee.
Mr. Zach, when are they gonna replace the scoreboard down there?
I don't know, I have no idea, and so,
You can't even tell what our score is.
I know, it's pretty terrible. I know a couple of years ago, we did the lights, and I think the lights was just over $100,000. And I think 85 or 90 of that came from Anderson County High School, not the high school, but Anderson County school systems. I mean, scoreboards are not cheap.
That's true.
I think Brandon's trying to get money donated to replace it.
I know the football program is working really, really hard to raise money for that. I'm only guessing, but to replace that scoreboard with one that size, you're probably looking upwards of 30 or 40,000. They're just not cheap, and there's no grant money out there really for recreation right now. Everything's for infrastructure and roads.
But everywhere we went this
Yeah,
year.
we went to every middle school game this year. We by far have the worst scoreboard.
Yes, we
Have
did.
ever sold.
It's bad.
So, and
I mean, they were coming to our field and looking at us like. and
so,
they
but
was-
now also, I don't know if the other middle schools isn't like Oliver Springs don't they have their own field?
We
I
didn't-
mean, we don't.
We didn't do the Oliver Springs, did we?
I just know that other middle schools have their own fields. They're not necessarily using just community fields.
Right.
So they have school funds that they're able to pour into
Plus,
those
they charge more
fields.
to get in too.
And if I'm not
Well,
mistaken,
and our football program, the city doesn't receive the money from the football program. The football program, that money that's at the gate goes to the football program. And that sustains his program and provides the scholarships for the kids that can't,
Right.
for the parents that can't pay for it. So when it comes to recreation, and it comes to those fields, like I would love to have a sports complex, that was on par with some of the stuff you see up in Pigeon Forge and some of these high school fields. Like, I'd love to make it a major league ball stadium, but that's just, the money is not there.
It'd be an improvement if we could just get the bulbs changed or somebody checking into
But
it.
well, the problem with the bulbs, I can't tell you how many
Are they
hours
old- are
Dustin
they
probably.
incandescent bulbs?
Well, it's not just bulbs. I mean, it's wiring. Like, there's been several people that went through it and tried to rewire it. It just does not work. It's not a simple fix. Because I promise, if it was a simple fix, we've got enough people that's been in it that could have fixed it.
it's probably been cobbled up, there's been.
It has been.
And like the
It has
sign,
been.
now I do know that like the baseball sign, the one that's on where the
Yeah,
bathroom's
that's
at,
good.
that was donated by the middle school. So the middle school helps out because they use it and they help out when they can and where they can. It's
No,
it's the same way with like the bleachers. I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to make that ADA compliant.
who's the middle school person?
I don't know the director.
Well, I spoke to someone at a middle school game over there, and the scoreboard came up, and it sounds to me like there's 3 or 4 different groups there, and for whatever reason, there's no organization to get everyone in one spot in regards to the scoreboard. And maybe that we need to find out who these different parties are and get them all in one spot. And there may be enough between the different organizations that we have funding to get really close to replacing that thing.
It's, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Green. It's not been that long ago that they went through and replaced every bulb in that scoreboard, has it?
They're always doing it. It's not a thing, it's not a lack of trying, it's not a lack of troubleshooting.
But somewhere between the press box and the scoreboard,
There's issues.
there's issues
Yeah.
and there's lights that stay, if they turn the scoreboard on, there's automatically lights, certain lights I've noticed that stay on. And of course, if you've got a light that stays on all the time, in your scoring part or the timing part, say, and just, it's,
I will say that I think the direction that we're going, I think that we're starting to put together some sustainable projects. I think that the community is coming together and we're starting to see improvements a little bit at a time. And I think that the more that we see improvements, the more the community and other businesses see improvements, the more they're gonna be willing to, you know, help fund projects. Won't say the name, but I talked to a business owner and they told me that if there were more sustainability to the program, then they would fund it. But because of that, they wouldn't. And, you know, we just,
Well, I think the efforts at the Little League football and
Yeah, I
put in
mean,
is just
phenomenal.
Yes, I mean, yeah. The Joker's over there at 2 o'clock in the morning with floodlights painting. Lord have mercy. They worked their hind end off and it shows too. They did an awesome job. They did an awesome job. But, we may need to see if we can get the groups together in regard to the scoreboard where everybody's playing off the same sheet of music. And there may possibly be some funding out there, whether it be through public or a private donor, that could be utilized, but we need to get everyone together. Is there anything else to come before the board? If there's nothing else to come before the board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
No need to call for the roll for that. Everyone in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all for coming.
Yes.
Opposed?